I've always done sports and stuff, but climbing's so different because you always like problem solving. It takes your mind off everything else in your life, and it's kind of an escape for me. It's a place that you go and you know that you've got a whole community around you supporting you.
I'm Izzy Gorton and I'm 16.
I'm Edie Bridgeman and I'm 15.
I started climbing when I was 9 and I got an introduction session as my present, and I've just been climbing ever since. I do competitions because there's this sense of like achievement, and even if you don't place on like a podium, it just feels amazing.
You definitely feel accomplished because you felt like you've used your skills in climbing to do something that makes you feel good about yourself. It's definitely part of my mental health, and it definitely helps it because when you go climbing it releases endorphins, so that's like the scientific part of it, I guess, but also yeah, it makes you feel good about yourself because you've achieved things, and you have to push like your boundaries and make yourself do things that you probably wouldn't do in everyday life.
We both did PE GCSE, and in the climbing section it says you need to do outdoor climbing, like trad climbing. So we both like enrolled for this session run by Andy. Andy really helped us by teaching us like the basics of trad climbing and how the gear works. It just really helped to create like a safety net for us. I think it's really important to have someone who knows what they're doing there because you feel a lot safer to try out new things.
Not that direction though all the time. It's just hard to understate the value, the extra value of climbing outdoors versus indoors when you haven't experienced it yet. It's hard to describe that. I think just being in nature is a big part of it. You know, it's so good for our mental health to be in the natural world. I'm Hazel Findlay. I'm a professional climber. I've been climbing almost 30 years now. Never gets old. I think what a lot of people who don't climb don't understand about climbing is that it can be made to be very physically safe. You can go climbing in a way where it's no more dangerous than most other sports. The risk-reward ratio, I think, is balanced way more towards the reward end of it. It's just we like to tell stories about the more dangerous types of climbing because they're kind of fun and exciting, right? But not everyone has to engage in those more dangerous forms of climbing. You can actually manage the physical risk in a really appropriate way. And what's cool about climbing though is that actually when you take that risk level down and you don't actually put yourself in much physical harm, it's still actually pretty scary. How to manage my own psychology is like the biggest skill that climbing's given me. Just emotional regulation. Learning about yourself and what motivates you, and learning how to be present and learning how to be a team with your partner. You know, these are like really invaluable life lessons, and I don't think you would get them to the same extent if you just stayed indoors.
Do you want to show me how these work? Remind me.
And then you place it in.
Yep.
And then,
But
yeah.
you got to test it before,
Oh wait, yeah.
like pull on it to see it doesn't come out.
And what makes a good one rather than a bad one?
If it's like tapered, like the crack that you're putting it in,
Yep.
then when you open it, it's like got
A flare.
yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to do the climb as we would normally climb it, and the girls here are going to come up after me and take out the gear I've placed to give them an idea of where good places to put gear is, and how that works in practice. And that way, when we come round to let them have a go, we've established A, that they're good with the gear, and B, that the ground that they're covering is going to be fine for them. Takes out a little bit of the unknown.
I was actually really nervous when we were first going out, because I'd never done it before. It was a lot taller than a lot of the lead walls indoors. It was just so different. I mean, I don't really know much about the origins of climbing, but I guess it's the foundations of the sport that we do, so it's quite important to us.
I've read about it in some articles and newspapers in like climbing magazines, and I think it's important to remember it, because it's like how the sport began, and it's just led on to this wide community.
Trad climbing outdoors is different to indoor climbing. It's not, you don't see a grade on the start hold. There's not a start hold in particular. We all have names, and you've got books that you can get with the different routes. Well, I think being in nature is actually probably the only time that I'm in the moment and just appreciating like our surroundings. I think climbing and other sports probably, they make you, I don't know, like think about that moment. It brings you out of your other life and into the climbing life.
You have to kind of get up close and comfortable with your fears in climbing, whether they're kind of fear of falling, fear of hurting yourself, fear of what other people think, fear of failure. You know, these fears, they confront you in the climbing space, and you have to learn how to manage them, otherwise you won't have a good time climbing.
Go on, Izzy, you got it.
And in doing that, you learn these skills that then you can transfer to other areas of your life. And I think for young women especially, that's just really empowering, you know, to be able to go, okay, well, there was this thing that scared me, and then I slowly confronted it, and over time, this thing doesn't scare me anymore. I mean, that's such a powerful journey to go through, which you can then take to other areas of your life.
You know, and it's kind of like, you know, take your time.
Being in the moment when you're climbing feels especially peaceful, because you get to break away from like the struggles in your life.
So you want to swing the rack over?
Well, especially in my GCSE period, when I went climbing, I just got a chance to just forget about everything just for a second, and just to like exercise and feel good about myself.
It kind of shuts out all of the thoughts or negativities, and you just focus in on the route and on the moment, and it calms you and it makes you feel directed, so you know where you're going. No, I felt like the risk was really manageable, especially with the people that we were with. I felt really safe. Yeah, even though there is a lot of risks, there's a lot more to gain, because it's like where you are is just really nice to just look out and be in nature, and it feels a lot more rewarding.
Oh, fantastic. Well done.
Thank you.
How did that feel?
It felt great. I loved it.
It's helped me get over my fear. So it just felt really good to be able to do it and actually get to the top of rock that will stay there forever. Like, it's not going to be reset, it's just going to be there forever.
It's kind of a big deal when you think about it. Not many people do it, you don't really hear of it. And yeah, I just felt like I'd really achieved something.